How about this topic? Serial victimizer, a huge headline, which is something that so many people, including myself, have given into this notion that the bad things that happen in our lives, most if not all of them, are because we are victims, eternal victims. Relationships, we experience heartbroken in a relationship, we experience suffering, and it's because of them all the time. He did this, he did that, all men are the same. She did this, she did that, all women are the same, right? I am a victim, right? Well, wrong. With some rare exceptions, let's say kidnapping, anything that is illegal and implies force, okay? But with those rare exceptions, if we really analyze, we realize that we are making our own decisions, and those decisions sometimes get us into trouble. We experience negativity from which we can learn a lot based on our actions and behavior. Of course, the easiest thing to do is just blame, always blame, always blame. And all you have to do is talk to somebody who experienced a bad relationship, and maybe, I wouldn't generalize it, but you have a pretty decent chance of listening to a serial victimizer, self-victimizer, right? Blaming, and generalizing. All men, all women, oh, me, a victim, they're terrible. I guess the same applies with politics, right? We keep blaming the politicians, but who put them there? Who went and voted them? Who allows them to be there? Who? So I guess this can go in the same bag of working to becoming a better human, and we can start by abandoning this idea of eternal victim, which is also being played in politics. You see how they divide us? They say, okay, you have this skin color, you're a victim. You have this skin color, you're the oppressor. So now fight against each other so we can control you. Always, always. The same with men and women. Women, eternal victims of the patriarchy, of the male oppressor, right? And again, they divide us by color, by gender, by whatever. Because we like, for whatever reason, in our brain, there's a trigger, like a reward system, which says, oh, I'm a victim, therefore I shouldn't accept any responsibility for my actions. So all I can do is blame everyone. It's so easy. I'm a victim. Because if I would take responsibility for my own actions, I would then have to face myself as being the one who caused the suffering in my life. I don't want that. That's horrible. No. I am a victim and they are the oppressors. Always. Well, this idea just keeps us small. This idea actually perpetuates the victim mentality, and we end up being real victims of our own thinking process. So what is there to be done about it? A lot can be done. Just judging by my own actions, I would say, first thing, I will give up the idea of being a victim, which I am sometimes, right? Imagine somebody shoots you, or there's an accident, an icicle just falls down and kills you. Of course, you can be a victim when it comes to accidents. To some extent, there is such thing. But I'm referring to the social life that we have. So the first idea is to just give up this notion of being a victim. It's the easiest thing to do, and I guess I would say weak people choose to view themselves as eternal victims? Because it's easy. It requires no effort. Blaming, shaming comes from victim mentality, pointing fingers. Like they say, no, you point a finger, but then three are pointing towards you. Well, you can actually point like this, and no finger points at you. But anyway, that's just a different concept. So giving up the idea of victimhood, and then I have to assume and I have to choose to be responsible for all my actions, because I am responsible for all my actions. So I have to acknowledge that I am where I am because of myself. Even though, yes, you can have toxic parents, you can have toxic relationships, but you choose to be there. You choose to stay there. You choose to we choose to expose ourselves to that negativity, and we bring it into our system, and then it destroys us. And then we say, well, we're victims. Well, by choice, by our own choice. Give up the victim mentality, take responsibility for our lives, and do the best we can with what we have. There are some things that we just may never be able to do. But instead of presenting ourselves as eternal victims, especially in relationships, imagine somebody comes into your life and all they say is an eternal victim who blames and shames and talks bad about their ex-partners and makes wild generalization about genders and all that. Who wants to be with a person like that? Why would anybody want to be with a person like that? And there's one more thing. I think this would require a separate video maybe, but I'll include it here just to be sure. The idea of handling the truth. You know, everybody keeps saying, oh, I want to be true. I hate liars. I hate when somebody's lying to me. You're terrible. Okay, all right. I feel the same too. But then when somebody presents the truth to you, and if that truth reflects the fact that you're not a victim, you're responsible for your suffering, then what do? How do you react then? Well, most likely some of us will just push back, defensive, offensive. The best defensive is offensive, right? And say, that's not true, and then you're judging me, and then again blame and shame. You see, victim, again blame and shame. So then some people will just say, well, why would I be honest with that person? If they see themselves as victim, they don't want to take any responsibility, and whenever I try to tell them about a different view that may be true, that they're responsible for their lives, they just lash out and they bite the jugular. So choosing to be in a victim mentality and not being able to handle truth, cold truth as it's being served, keeps us in the eternal victim mentality and victim mode. So I don't see any constructive reason to hold on to the idea of not taking responsibility for our lives and being victims and pointing fingers and blaming and shaming, which is so tiring. Every time blame and shame comes out, it just feels like energy is being drained out of our body. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, well, here's some homework for you to do. So I'm working on it as well. We'll exchange notes.